What's up, traders? It's Vincent, your boy, aka VinnBoss. Welcome back to the VinnBoss Signal Factory, where real traders grow real accounts. Now, here, if it's the first time you are being here at VinnBoss Signal Factory, we are building a community of real traders who trade smart, stay disciplined, and grow their accounts with real strategies. I've been trading the markets for years, studying price action, understanding structure, and helping traders master consistency without any problem whatsoever. So, with that being said, everything that you will see me share here comes straight from real market experience and not just theory. All right, let's jump straight to today's top daily signals and analysis. Now, traders, first thing that we have to look at is the euro and the dollar. With the euro and the dollar, this is a real account traders community analysis. So with that being said, traders, this is last week we sort of kind of got this pullback to the upside. I know most of you might think now we are structured to the upside, but for me, we are still going to make a second retest of, excuse me, we are still going to make a second retest of this sell zone right here at 1.1580, then a continuation to the downside to take out structure right here. Now, if we do make a new high, this would be a second place, of course, a new high from the previous high right now. This would be a second place to look for bearish patterns and formations, to go look for that selling opportunities so that we can continue to the downside to make that new low. So traders, this is just the euro and the dollar for us. What we are intending to do with this, of course, just because right here on YouTube with the 6 YouTube watch list, we only share the London session analysis and we do not share the New York sessions, but I do try to make sure that everything that we cover on the London session also can reflect out the entire week or even the full day of what is going to happen. So without wasting further time, traders, we have to jump over to other markets. Now next is going to be the pound and the dollar. And for those of you who are asking me what take profit this should be, it's 1.1384. This is the most aggressive one as it is the daily uh, break of structure, and to the downside, of course, now we will be focusing more on the selling pressure or the selling opportunities. Or rather, if you have a more conservative one in mind, you should put it at 1.1396. It will be 1.1396. So with that being said, beautiful traders, what do we expect? Now we do nothing until we see great bearish patterns and formations, of course, from this level right here and from this level right here. That's when we can see great opportunities coming to the seller side, and this is what I will be expecting to trade. So with that being said, let's go straight to the pound and the dollar. And with the pound and the dollar, very simply put, we were oversold around this zone right here, and we started pulling back. After the pullback, what I would like to see myself is a continuation to the upside, as we are already in a continuation to the upside, and then look for selling opportunities right at this level. Of course, at 1.3245, this would be a great place to look for selling opportunities, and then a continuation to the downside would be more imminent. Now, we have not yet provided, you can still aim for the new low if you're watching this video and you're going to end up not watching every day. You can still put your take profit at the new low from last week, or rather wait for a set profit so that we can give you the exact target level where you should put your profit at, because right now it is still unconfirmed as to how far deep is this pullback going to be, or how far down is the market going to be. So the market will only give you this take profit and exit points at different stages of the market movement. So with that being said, traders, this is just the first opinion on the euro, and this is not the weekly break of structure, of course. This is not the weekly break of structure. The weekly break of structure will be down from these levels. And another thing that we can for sure think of is if we do reach this second place, this is still a great place to look for selling opportunities down towards key areas where we were last overbought, or wait for the correct and the most perfect take profit that will be set and given. Remember, for me, this is not enough pullback yet because it still hasn't reached the 38.2 Fibonacci retracement level. And if it does reach this 38.2 Fibonacci retracement level, then we will be in a first pullback. That's when the projection of the first uh, take profit can be made or put in place. But more favorably, it would be better if we do get a pullback from these levels of 50% of 50 of the Fibonacci retracement. And with that being said, traders, this is the most or the best setups that we can get from both sides, from the 61.8 Fibonacci and the 50 point, or even the 78.6. This is still a fantastic place to look for selling opportunities. But also, just the community knows there are different types of pullbacks, so it depends on the pullback. What kind of pullback are we dealing with? Are we dealing with a sharp one to the upside, or are we dealing with occurring waves? If it's like this, it's healthy. But if it is a sharp one to the upside and straight through without a pullback, straight through the 61.8 Fibonacci, that simply means it is no longer a pullback, it is the start of a new trend. So that means you are no longer selling, you are buying. So be careful when you are entering these markets like this. So without wasting further time, traders, this is what I do expect from the pound. A continued pullback to the upside. Look for bearish patterns and formations, and to make a new low, of course. But the confirmed take profit, of course, will be out there when everybody else is confirmed with the entry points and with the bearish patterns and formations similar to these ones. But we will be looking for them right here, because we cannot take any bearish patterns and formations from any levels. There are key levels, of course, that we need to watch in every market, and after every market, everything will be fantastic. So without wasting further time, traders, let's go straight to the euro and the Canadian dollar. And traders, with the euro and the Canadian dollar, very simply put, what we do have is a structure to the downside. This is still my seller zone, or the supply zone. And after that, we did get the reaction from the real account traders community. Of course, now, what do I expect to see continuing going into this week? Of course, I would like to see maybe a pullback, and then a retest of this sell zone again, and then start making lower lows to reach out this target right here at 1.5984. Now this is the target profit of 1.5985. So take profit right here, guys. This one is confirmed, of course. And with that being said, traders, if we do not get to the level where we reach this supply zone, rather we continue to the downside in a pullback, this is still a valid take profit zone. Look for bearish patterns and formations, and then continuation to the downside, because you will get an opportunity from this. This market cannot just come flying without a pullback right into this level. No, what happens is the market take breaks, and when there's a break, you can even do this, and then from here you start looking for bearish patterns and formations to continue this target. But it is imminent that we are going to reach this as the waves are to the downside. Some people who are thinking this to the upside, I will only follow this to the upside only if we do break and then continue to the downside. Remember, the first thing about trading is following your trading plan and sticking to it. So nothing has to change over the night just because there's another pattern that looks tempting. You have to follow the idea to the down. Now, let me digress a little bit before I show you. We do have uh, the real account traders community, in which you guys are missing a whole lot from not joining or here on YouTube. This was the signal from last week with gold, of course, and this signal was one of the most fantastic signals that we did get from last week. And with that being said, this was the results from that signal from last week. Guys, it's time you join the real account traders community and start funding, especially when there are 200 seats left for traders to join. This is $20 for you guys to come and join this, and it's very simple for you to join. All you have to do is register your trading account with the exclusive XNS link that is posted right on the video description right here. And after you've registered your account, you verify your account details and then fund the minimum of $20 or more. It's no longer 100 US dollars, it's $20 or more. After this 200 seats are done, then we go back to the $100 minimum joining fee. So not fee, but funding fee, because you do not pay anybody money. I believe that if you start paying people to teach you trading, then they are greedy, because they do make money with the markets or they do lose money with the market. So I don't see why traders should pay other people, for them to help them lose and make money with the same thing that they are doing. So without wasting further time, traders, let's go back to the charts. Now, this is what I want to see: continuation to the downside, a break of this last week low, and then a pullback. Look for bearish patterns and formations, and then continuation to the downside. This is option 1. And then option 2 is if we do get a deeper pullback to this level, look for bearish patterns and formations, and then a continuation to the downside. This would be a fantastic place to go and look for shorts and take profit down here. This would be a fantastic opportunity. So with that being said, traders, thanks for watching these videos. Let's go straight to the next currency pair, which is the pound rather, the pound and the Canadian dollar. And traders, with the pound and the Canadian dollar, what we are having right now is, let me go into the bigger time frames, of course, so that we can get a better view of this. Now, after this is what I do expect. After this move to the upside, I would like to see one more pullback to retest this level right here before we continue to the downside, of course, and reach here. This would be a fantastic place for me to go and take profit at, or rather, if we do have a continued pullback which is deeper, to come and retest these levels here. This would also be a great place to look for selling opportunities, and by these levels I mean 1.8700. This would be a fantastic place to look for selling opportunities and then continue to the downside, just as we are planning. And remember, if there's one thing that I have to mention is, if we do get a continued pullback or anything higher than this take profit will move higher and higher and higher up until this is a complete and clear reversal. Just like right here, this is a complete and clear reversal. So traders, with that being said, beautifully, this is what I think would happen to the downside. I am not looking for any buying opportunities. Nope. I'm only looking for selling opportunities. So with that being said, traders, if this currency pair continues to go to the downside, there's another option here. If it does continue to the downside, a pullback and a retest of these levels will be imminent, and then a continuation to the downside will be a fantastic place for you to take profit at and enjoy. Remember, all these signals that I'm giving you today, they will only come to take profit through psychology and discipline. If you do not possess any of the discipline required in trading, you are going to have a tough time by yourself trying to make sure that you understand the market. Whereas there's the real account traders community, and you can fund and then join the real account traders community, a community where people just remind each other that you have to stay disciplined. Sometimes all you need is someone who's telling you you have to stay disciplined. The trade went against you, but that doesn't mean the end of the world. It means you are part of a serious group of traders who motivate and want to grow strong, rich, and wealthy together without wasting each other's time and money. So with that being said, traders, this is just the pound and the Canadian dollar for us. Going into next week, we will still be looking for selling opportunities. So traders, that is it from me with the pound and the Canadian dollar. Let's go straight to the euro and the pound. The euro and the pound. And last week with the euro and the pound, what we did have is a beautiful buy signal from here and to continue to the upside. This was taken right here live on YouTube. If you missed it, please go to our Monday daily video, then you will understand what I am talking about. So traders, with that being said, let me just show you how the signal was. This was the signal from the weekly Forex forecast, and after the signal, this was the results after the signal. This is the signal, of course, and this is the results. Now, it was 1 is to 10 or something, yeah, but it was 1 is to 10 was bigger. So if you are missing these signals and you are missing the real account traders community, then you're just not ready. You need to be ready. Now let's go back to the charts and see what I was expecting. What I'm expecting now is a pullback to come retest this broken level right here. This level is going to act as support or as demand. This is your buy zone, and then we are making again a new high. We will be continuing to the higher side with the euro and the pound, and as you have seen, between the euro and the Canadian dollar and the pound and the Canadian dollar, and again between the euro and the dollar and the pound and the dollar, what you have seen is that the pound has more good sales, which is rightly reflected so in here by the momentum to go that goes to the upside without much of a strong pullback to the downside. So in the past 2 weeks, we have been straightly been going to the upside, and right now what I would like to see is this, and then a continuation to the upside. This is the pound and this is the euro and the pound. This is what I do expect, and this is what I'm expecting. So with that being said, beautiful traders, let's discuss the last but not least currency pair, which is the US dollar and the Canadian dollar. So traders, the dollar and the Canadian dollar, I was expecting to say this is a signal from last week on Monday. It was a fantastic signal. Let me remove this. Yes, this was one of the signals that we did have on Monday. So with that being said, traders, what I'm expecting here is a pullback, maybe a small one, or even a continuation to the upside will be cool for me. This is what another thing that I want to touch on. The euro and the Canadian dollar is structured to the downside, yet the Canadian dollar is weak on the daily time frame. The pound and the Canadian dollar is structured to the downside. That is for sure, that is pretty much evident. Now, the US dollar and the Canadian dollar is structured to the upside because the Canadian dollar is weak. We can see it right now on the price section. So with that being said, this is the most imminent thing to happen on this currency pair to reach out this new height right there. So without wasting further time, traders, this is a beautiful setup, and this would be the best take profit that you can take out or that you can aim to have. So with that being said, this take profit will be updated, of course. This take profit will be updated, of course, because of the unconfirmed bullish patterns and formations that are still forming here. So with that being said, traders, this is the US dollar and the Canadian dollar for us this week. And I want to thank you for watching the video. Make sure you like, you subscribe, and you join the real account traders community so that you can start having this market breakdown every single day and twice a day, twice in the London session, twice in the New York session, and trade the news live like CPI, like NFP, all those live right here. So with that being said, traders, thanks and happy trading today.